All right, it is time to break it down. Welcome back to The Breakdown, folks. My name is Tino Fera. Her name is Megan Kinna, joining us for episode 2 of The Breakdown. If you are in the world of lacrosse and you have not heard of Megan Kinna, you have been living under a rock. Multi-time champion with Team Canada Field Lacrosse, silver medalist, Team Canada Box Lacrosse, Athletes Unlimited, Kinna's Crew, Helix Lacrosse. The list just goes on and on. Megan, welcome to the show.
Thank you so very much. Happy to be here.
All right, we have a ton of lacrosse to get through in the BC Junior A Lacrosse League. So let's get right into it here, shall we? And the first game on the list is Kquillum versus Burnaby. This one went down last Friday, May 23rd. This matchup was a heated rivalry all of last year. This game, though, not so much. Here's Jordan Reed making it 4-0 in transition. Midway through the first, by the end of that period, it was 6-1. The Adnacks would score 9 straight to close out the game, including this one by Jackson Dillon. 19-3 was your final. And the combination of Jackson Dillon and Nathan Chalmers combined for 19 points in this game. They just continue to be this dynamic duo on the same side of the floor. Jack Cast and Caden Lee, they split time in this game. Jack Cast got the first 2 periods. Caden Lee came in to close things out. By that point in the game, I think the lead was pretty comfortable, to say the least. And Lee came in the third period and was perfect, stopping all 11 shots that he had seen. Ben Coghill, I want to keep saying this guy's name because he was outrageous at the faceoff dot and has been throughout the start of this season. 16-4 at the faceoff dot. Megan, how important is it to have a strong start to a season when you're going up against a team that was considered a big rival just a year ago?
It's huge. I mean, to have a strong start early on in the season sends a message to all the other teams. It sends a message to Burnaby, especially with a 19-3 beat down. Like, oh my gosh. There it is. There you have it, folks.
Oscar Lucas contributed in on all 3 of the Burnaby goals. He had 3 assists by the end of the game. And he is a player, Megan, in some ways that has been, maybe this hasn't been said to him directly, but just based on some of the guys that Burnaby lost at the end of last year, he's sort of been tasked with running the offense for this Burnaby team. What should a player's mindset be when coming into a season and that kind of is your responsibility?
I mean, that's a lot of weight to bear on top of your shoulders, but I think he's definitely a leader, and you can see it that he's shown that he's scored the only 3 goals out of the whole game for Burnaby. So kudos to him, and yeah, it's going to be exciting to see what Oscar Lucas can do in the remainder of the season.
Definitely. There was, well, before we move on to the next Kquillum game, Burnaby does have another game coming up this week. Their next game will be May 28th at home versus the Delta Islanders. So come on down to the Swamp if you want to go check out them try to rebound against Delta. Kquillum did have a second game in the weekend, though, and they went to face on the Nanaimo Timbermen here at this very, where we're standing right now at the Palace. Yeah, here we are. Their second game of the weekend, and it would be quite a bit closer. After surrendering the opening goal, Owen Eckert got like 4 feet of air that time, evening the score at 1. Thank you for a subtle laugh.
Sorry.
Then, fast forward to early in the second, Nathan Chalmers puts it off the post and in. That would cut the deficit to 1, but more importantly, would jumpstart the Adnacks offense. Pretty tic-tac-toe in finish by who else? Owen Eckert, once again. A little less airtime this time, though.
Ooh.
Nanaimo would mount a comeback, but fall just short. 8-6, Kquillum would be the final score. This was a matchup that I was very much so looking forward to. I've already talked a bunch about Nanaimo throughout this season, how they're a very senior-heavy team. They have a lot of graduating players this year, so there's a lot of knowledge on this team. And they're going up against Kquillum, the defending champs as well. So a big matchup that I had my eyes on. Jeremy Woodrick for Nanaimo just continues to score at will. He now leads his team with 11 goals and 17 points. He's actually the only member of this offense with double digits in terms of goals. The next closest is Andrew Bowman with 6. This is a game where Nanaimo just took far too many penalties. And when you have a team like Kquillum that can score at will at certain points, that's certainly not a recipe for success. And Kquillum would go on to score on 2 of those 3 second period power plays, which ended up being as well a scoreless second period for Nanaimo. Owen Eckert and Nathan Chalmers led the way with 4 points each. Eckert has been quite a story for Kquillum. He makes the jump this year to the Junior A team. Looks like full-time after spending the year last year with the Junior B Tier 1 team. And here's the name Ben Coghill once again. 11 and 3 at the faceoff dot. He is just unbelievable. He, coming over from Albany, he was part of this Minto Cup winning team last year. And of course, they do also have Nathan Miller who can take draws for this team. But Ben Coggill, just over 70% at the faceoff dot through their opening games of the season. Kquillum's next game will be Friday, May 30th. They'll be at home taking on their rivals from down the highway, the Poco Saints. And then also they play, 2 games in 2 days because they play the next day as well. Saturday, May 31st on the road in Victoria. That will be a tough one to go back to back, especially when you got to go across onto a ferry. Next game on the list, New West versus Poco. This was a weird game. I was on the call for this one, and Poco was off in this game in the sense that there was a lot of drop passes, a lot of missed shots. But the first kind of weird thing on this game's list for me was they had to do this without both of their regular goaltenders. So no Ashton Brown, who was their regular starter, and no Colby Highland, who was their regular backup. Instead, Aaron Price got the start. He was good for the most part, but a tough task to be able to put on a young goaltender's shoulders. He stopped 36 of 47. Aaron McRae ended up backing up, and from what I understand, he is still a minor lacrosse goaltender. So a lot of responsibility there, even just as the backup. But for a defensive core, when you're going into this game and you already know you're not going to have your regular 2 goaltenders, what is that conversation like between defenders in terms of how they should be playing that game?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they've got to really be forcing poor quality shots. And if you have a really young goaltender in net, you've got to be able to cause turnovers and make sure that you're protecting your goalie. And yeah, it's tough, but you guys got to trust that, or the players have to trust that the coaches made the best decision and put that goaltender in cage for a reason. So yeah, just work together and trust one another.
New West also, so listen to this. New West in their previous game, this game against Poco was just their second game of the year. Their previous game, they had 1 power play opportunity against Kquillum. They go 0 for 1. This game, they go 4 for 6 on the power play. And there was a stretch, like those 4 they scored were 4 in a row. It was every power play they were getting, they were scoring immediately afterwards. So special teams became a big factor in this game. They also scored 2 shorthanded goals, both of them by Jackson Weatherby, and both of them in the 3rd period. So a pretty clutch time of the game. New West just never trailed in this game. And this is, I mentioned on the first episode of the breakdown that this is a rebuilding team that they like their trajectory. They're not at the start of their rebuild. They're kind of right in the middle of it. So they like this trajectory that they're on right now. And they've impressed me in their early games this season. They have another game coming up on the show here as well that we'll break down. But Ren Glanville and Aiden McDonald just put on an absolute show. Glanville had 8 points, 5 and 3, and then Aiden McDonald, a 7-assist game, just ridiculous. And he assisted on all 5 of the first goals. It was just insane to watch. People often talk about having to find the hot stick, and that's kind of when your offense gets underway. How much does that benefit from a coaching perspective? How much does that benefit an offense when now you have 2 hot sticks firing in the same game?
Oh my gosh, it's unreal. I mean, when you have 2 players who are hot, you're trying to get them the ball as much as possible, and you're trying to make sure that, they're getting the ball, they're putting the ball in the back of the net, and yeah, your offense is going to kind of work around those players because they got the hot stick.
Should also mention there's a milestone in this game. Heavyweight champion Josh Mills scores his 80th career Junior A goal. So congratulations to him. I'm sure there's many more to get. Will there be his 100th goal scored this season?
Hopefully.
Who's to say? Who's to say, Josh? Poco's next game will be Friday. Another one. Well, I guess we already kind of mentioned this, but at this very arena at the Palace, they'll be on the road to take on Kquillum. That is Friday, May 30th. Come on down. That'll be a fun one. It usually is. Next game on the list, Nanaimo versus Delta. This one went down on Saturday afternoon, an afternoon matinee. This was a bit of an early season revenge game for Nanaimo in the sense that just 6 days prior, this matchup already happened, and Delta got the better of Nanaimo. I think kind of catching a lot of people off guard a little bit in terms of, I think Nanaimo was expecting a win there, as most teams do, and Delta, shut the door on them. The big difference in that first game was Delta going on a 6-goal run late in the game, kind of stifled the Nanaimo offense. In this game, it was the exact opposite in the sense that Nanaimo goes on a 6-goal run to start off the game, spans across the first period and the second period. And that ended up being kind of the difference maker for this Nanaimo team. Jared Masnick has been a force for this Delta team. I know it's early, but he has just continued to pile up goal after goal after goal. He gets 2 more in this game. He's now up to 7 points on the year, 7 goals on the year. And then Jeremy Woodrick, already mentioned him on the show as well. He had a 7-point performance. This kid is just filling the back of the net and scored 6 of their first 7 goals. With Nanaimo, them being a more senior heavy team, I think the number that I'm waiting for someone to correct me, but the number that I landed on was 12 seniors on this Nanaimo team, which is incredible.
Yeah.
How much do you think that will help this Timbermen team down the stretch of the season to have that much knowledge and experience on their team?
Oh, it'll help immensely. You know, it's experience, it's leadership, and when you have a roster stacked full of senior players, you're gonna be carrying a lot of confidence with you throughout all your games throughout the season. And I think for other teams, it's probably a bit intimidating too when you see a roster full of senior players. So yeah.
Keegan Okino had himself a pretty strong game as well, a .929 save percentage in that one, stopping 39 of 42. Jet Burns got the start for the Islanders. He stopped 40 of 49. So the Islanders' next game will be Wednesday, May 28th. They'll be on the road against Burnaby. I guess that'll be at the time of recording. That'll be tomorrow night. So come on down to the Swamp and watch Burnaby versus Delta. Nanaimo's next game will be next Saturday, or I guess this coming Saturday, May 31st, at home, where they will take on the New Westminster Salmon Bellies. That will be a game to watch, folks. I am looking forward to that one. Victoria versus Langley. This one went down last Saturday as well. This was in Victoria, so Langley on the road. And a lot of people are talking about this Langley team for a lot of different reasons. Of course, like their win this year, last year. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit, but very much so another rebuilding team. This felt like very much so a step in the right direction for this Langley team, in the sense that, yes, they still lose, but there's kind of little victories in the middle of the game here and there, including battling back to tie the game 3 different times, including one where they trailed 4-1. So it is just sort of those little victories that stand out to me in things that we didn't really see much of from this Langley team a whole lot last year. Jacob Glass, the 5th overall draft pick, gets his first goal of his junior A career. Cody Todd, 2nd overall pick, gets his first goal of his junior A career. But only 29 shots in the game, including just 9 in each of the first and third period. And that's in the third period where they're trying to continue to climb back. So got to see a little bit more total in terms of shots at that point of the game. But we just talked about Nanaimo, how they're a very senior heavy team. This Langley team is very young. Those little victories that come throughout the game, how much does that help to build a culture for Langley trying to have some long-term success in the coming years?
Yeah, absolutely. I think those small victories really matter and they really add up over time. So especially in these starting couple games, having those small victories right off the bat is going to be huge. And as the season progresses, you can just keep stacking those on top of each other and hopefully take care of the little things. The overall score in the end of the game will come to your advantage. And honestly, I think with this with this Langley team being such an underdog and young team, like this is the underdog mentality. They can really try and fight back and hopefully peak at the right time.
Totally. I think as well, like sort of the ability where, you kind of know that people are almost counting you out. I think that is such a benefit when there's almost no expectations from the outside world. You can just go and play freely to an extent. I think Langley has a chance to catch a lot of teams off of guard here, or off guard. So I think that'll be an exciting team to watch in the coming years. Should also mention Jet Klassen led Victoria with 7 points in this game. He had 4 and 3. His first goal came 48 seconds into the game, so Victoria was flying early. Angus Snow gets his 3rd straight start, which meant it was his 3rd straight year. So before Victoria's last game of the weekend, a little bit of foreshadowing here. They were 3-0. They were the one remaining undefeated team. But we do have a graphic to be able to throw up on the screen because, and this one's going to hurt for those the Langley fans. As of today, the day we are recording this, Tuesday, May 27th, it has been 702 calendar days since the Langley Junior A Thunder last won a lacrosse game. Remember, that's not all games. There are off seasons in between there, but You got to imagine that is eating away a little bit, as it's been a little while since that taste of victory. It's coming soon, though. It's coming soon.
Come on, boys.
Thunder fans. Their next game will be Thursday, May 29th at home versus the Burnaby Lakers. And we can move on here now to New West versus Victoria. Got some highlights to go over here a little bit. It took a little while to break the stalemate, but the first one would be a beauty. And Jet Klassen, just mentioned him. This kid has become the king of the celebrations. I don't know what he's doing here, but like it a little bit. We'll see if more of that comes up. Victoria's offense then began to roll, much like it has throughout the early games of this year. But what is that saying? Got to be good to be lucky, lucky to be good, or something like that. Ben Pollock, evidence of that. Shot through the middle, sent wide, off the end boards, off Boris Maximenko, and over the goal line. In the dying minutes, trailing by 2, Cohen Block would get a penalty shot. Scores, but that's about as close as they would get. So that was it for the Victoria goals. And we can move over to the New West side of the game. Again, a little bit of foreshadowing because you kind of know how this one ends already. Remember when I brought up Ren Glanville earlier? Well, he put up another 4 points, including New West's first goal of the game. Then late in the second period, Colburn Connolly. This would be the turning point of the game for me. This goal cut the lead down to 2 late in the second period in the final minute. And that resulted in the Bellies going on a tear in the third period. 5 goals from 5 different scorers in the final frame, including a bullet from Keegan Lady, and this, a drive, dive, and shot from Mr. Glanville himself. 9-8 New West would be your final score. This kind of goes back a little bit to some of the points I was talking about in regards to New West in their game against Poco, in that this felt like another very impressive win for this New West team. They hand Victoria their first loss of the season. Glanville, just mentioned him. He had another 4-point performance, 3 goals and an assist, and that was after his 8-point performance on Friday night. He now has 12 points over his last 2 games. Talk about a hot stick. The kid is feeling it. And this New West team is still awaiting the return of Lucas Nielsen, who just finished his rookie season with the Buffalo Bandits. Pretty strong start to your rookie season, I would say, being able to hoist a trophy. That's got to be pretty special for him. Scored 50 goals in the Junior A season last year for New West. So with their offense already starting to figure out a little bit, that trajectory going forwards, like they've been anticipating, putting him back into this offense will be massive. Talking about Nielsen specifically, you're somebody who's played at a high level yourself. You have a wealth of knowledge to be able to bring to the different aspects of the game that you play in. Nielsen just finished his first NLL season, and he goes all the way through to the championship for the Buffalo Bandits. What kind of knowledge and experience does that bring to this already rolling New West offense?
I mean, they're already hot, but having him come back and joining the squad is going to be huge. He's got so much experience already, and he just came off a freaking championship with the Bandits. Like, are you kidding? That's going to be pretty cool. Yeah, the guys are going to be really lucky to have him on their roster, and it's pretty amazing that he's only a junior player too, which is pretty stellar.
Pretty incredible. Now, onto the Victoria side of things. This was the second game for the Shamrocks in less than 24 hours. And I found oftentimes with teams that are playing in back-to-backs, the start is usually really strong. It sort of fizzles out as the game kind of goes on. And I think that's sort of what we saw here. What is it like, not only on your body in terms of the physicality, but also for the mental side of things? What is that like when you know you have to go and play 2 games in such a short amount of time and there's travel involved in it as well?
Yeah, I think having 2 games right back to back is a grueling kind of thing you have to deal with. Not only is it hard on the body, but also plays on your mind for sure. Like, you're not only thinking in that first game, like, okay, we've got another game coming up pretty quick. Like, you're already thinking ahead, and it probably plays pretty heavily on the body and the mind for sure.
Yeah, Victoria ended up taking 20 minutes in penalties in this game as well, which is not good. Not good, especially when this New West power play has been finding the back of the net with relative success. So the Bellies next play Tuesday, May 27th. Oh, that's actually tonight. So by the time this comes out, the game will already be over. So they're at home tonight versus the Langley Thunder, but they also play this coming weekend. We already mentioned it, May 31st on the road against the Nanaimo Timbermen. Victoria's next game Also mentioned this one already. They will be at home Saturday, May 31st against the Kquillum Adanacs. So let's take a look at the updated BC Junior A standings. So again, there is a game going on tonight on the day of recording, so the standings might change a little bit. But currently, at the top of the leaderboards, there you have the Victoria Shamrocks and Kquillum Adanacs at numbers 1 and 2, both of them with identical 3-1 records. Will New West have a 3-1 record come the end of this night?
We shall see.
Who's to say? They're in third overall right now, followed by Nanaimo and Poco with identical records in their own right, 2 and 2. And then we get towards the final 3 spots, Delta 1-1, and then Langley and Burnaby still looking for their first wins of the season. And just to round things out, let's take a look at the outside of British Columbia standings as well. We got the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League standings here. St. Catharines, who are this is an important point for those for people keeping tracks on the Minto. St. Catharines gets an automatic bid into the Minto Cup since they are hosting it. It's not like it was in 2024 where the top 2 teams make it. It will be the top team and then St. Catharines. So if St. Catharines wins it, it'll be then the runner-up. So they are still first overall currently with a 3-1 record, so a strong start to their year. They are certainly going to be loading up. The Toronto Beaches and Six Nations Arrows sit at the 2 and 3 spots with 2-1 records, and then the rest of them kind of fall downwards from there. And then over to the Rocky Mountain Lacrosse League, the Calgary Mountaineers sit at the top right now with a 3-0-1 record. The Raiders Lacrosse Club, I gotta say, they're at second place right now with a 2-0 record. They kind of came in here during the preseason for like a West Coast tour. They played Delta, they played New West, Kquillum. They were here at the Minto last year. They look good.
Ooh.
They look good. I think they're going to have another strong season, and they've already started off 2-0. The Edmonton Miners just below them with an 0-1-1 record, and the Saskatchewan SWAT also looking for their first win of the season. They're another team that was winless all throughout the 2024 campaign. So, yeah, they're taking a peek at the calendar as well. That's going to do it for episode 2 of The Breakdown. Megan, your broadcasting debut as well. How do you think it went?
You made it so easy, so thank you, Tino. If I was solo, it would have been a process.
Well, many more to come, we all hope. Thank you to everybody for joining us for another episode of The Breakdown, and as always, we'll see you next time.